Hey you guys. So as you would have seen on my Instagram story, I didn't get a YouTube video up today. And that was completely just me failing to follow through on my plans. I still want to give you guys the same information that I wanted to give you in that video, which is why short-term planning in particular is crucial for keeping up the momentum in your business, especially when you're first starting out. So if you're trying to start an online business and you're thinking, well, where do I start? You're going to have a lot of ideas, right? You're going to see all these things that people are doing, and it's so easy to just get confused and get shiny object syndrome about all the platforms, all the strategies, and everything that's out there, all the different advice that different successful entrepreneurs are giving based on their own experience. But then how do you figure out what's right for you? How do you figure out your own action plan to get started? And this is where I really think you need to take it at the most 3 months at a time. It's great to have a long-term vision and a goal of where you want to get to. And I think that is absolutely crucial that you do have some kind of vision, because then you know what you're moving towards, what your short-term plans have to align towards. But then breaking it down into small, manageable chunks is what's really going to get you started and get you to keep moving towards that vision. So when you get into planning and goal setting, take it, I really recommend taking it 3 months at a time, because I think that's long enough that you can really make some progress, but also short enough to really keep your focus, which is absolutely key. So you want to have enough time to make progress, and you want to have focus. So a lot can happen in a year. A lot can change in a year. So you can have, goals that you set in January, and they may not make sense, in August. Like, you imagine that your life is going to stay exactly the same, but there's so many things can happen. So it's easier to predict the different changes in your life, and if you are going through something, what does that mean for how much you're able to accomplish? All of that is easier to gauge on a quarterly basis than it is on a yearly basis. So this is where I think, short-term planning has really been key for me. When I started my business, I started back in January, and honestly, for the very first quarter, my only goal was to show up on Instagram every single day. That was it. Because what I really wanted to do was test my own commitment and build my own consistency in showing up for my audience, from building an audience, figuring out how to build an audience. And so, for the first 3 months, I was just like, okay, I'm going to learn how to do this, and I am going to make sure that as much as I say that I want to have an online business and be a content creator and talk to people and all of this, I want to make sure that I'm actually committed to this, that I'm going to be able to stay consistent. I'm going to build that consistency, because this is what I want to do, and this is the vision that I have for my life. So I'm going to make sure I train myself to be consistent, to showing up on Instagram every single day and delivering something of value. So as you go every quarter, think about, okay, what's going to get me to the next step? So what is the next step? For me, it was, okay, I'm engaging with an audience and I'm doing well. Now I really need a rich content platform to really spread my message, to really put out content that's going to live longer than it would on Instagram, to just start building that portfolio of my work. And so I started my YouTube channel, and the second quarter was all about learning how to be on YouTube. And so that's where my focus was during the second quarter of the year. I just want to highlight, how short-term goal setting and how short-term planning has really helped me to take consistent action throughout the year so far into, just starting in January, not knowing what I would even want to talk about. When I first started on Instagram, I was talking about beauty and skincare and personal development too, but not with any kind of focus. And I was all over the map. But that phase was crucial for me to figure out what I really wanted to talk about, figure out my niche, figure out how having a niche and how really honing in on my message can help me grow on this platform. And also just building that muscle of, now I don't think about it. Every single day I do have something to share, and it just automatically, I just turn on my camera. I'm like, hey guys, this is what I want to tell you today. Or I create a quick little graphic. If I'm not able to get on camera, I would just type something up. I really wanted to let you guys know this. This is the value I want to add to your life today. And, getting into that mode of constantly showing up for your audience takes practice. So it has been really helpful to have these small, very focused goals so that I continue to do that. And since I started in January and until now it's the beginning of August, look at everything that I have been able to do because at every phase I was focused. So, I have become extremely consistent on Instagram. I'm on my stories every day and on my feed, a couple of times a week. Going from that to starting a YouTube channel, constantly showing up on YouTube and growing an audience there, within less than 4 months, 3.5 months, I've been able to reach 60 people, which, it might not seem like much, but that to me, that's quite something. I'm reaching 60 people who are now tuning in every week to listen to my message. That's big. And, when we all start from zero. So every single person that joins you on this journey and every single person that tunes in and wants to hear what you have to say, you have to really start appreciating them as, real individuals, which is, I think, one of, another big key to being able to grow and really be successful online is to treat your audience not as numbers, but as real people who you are there to serve. But that's a whole other discussion, so maybe we'll get into that on a later date. But going from there and to have worked with clients, I've delivered results for my clients. One of my clients who has been holding herself back for years, just, today she launched her YouTube channel and she's out there and she's reaching, oh my God, I checked. So I ended up watching her video 6 hours after she posted and she had reached almost 150 people with that first video. And I was like, oh my God, this girl has such a strong message, and she was holding herself back, not knowing where to start. She's out there, making an impact on the world, making an impact on other people. Because 8 months ago, I said, okay, I'm just gonna get started. I'm gonna take it slow. I'm gonna take it one step at a time and focus on, growing one area for 3 months, and then doing that every 3 months, focusing on, figuring out what do I need to focus on next, where do I need to grow next, and working on that for 3 months at a time. And that's how I have been able to grow over the last 8 months, and taking obviously experiences from my entire life and channeling that into coaching and really working with actual clients one-on-one, and to having them go and get their results and impact their own people, just because I said, okay, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna take it slow, and I have this plan for myself to just keep going step by step. I know, okay, once I do this, then what's my next step? Where do I want to go? And how am I going to take baby steps, one step at a time, to get there? And so, by the way, I do want to mention that if you want some support on creating that plan for yourself, and if you want the kind of confidence that I was, able to give to my client who, oh my God, she had such a great YouTube launch today. I am so proud. So if you want those kind of results for yourself, I do want to mention that I have one-on-one spots available right now. So if you do want to work with me and see that transformation for yourself, then definitely reach out and we'll have a chat and we'll see if we're a good fit to work together. I have a 3-month one-on-one coaching program available. So shameless plug there. If you want to work with me, just slide into my DMs and let's talk about it. I don't know how much of the last clip actually got recorded because I got distracted. But anyway, as I was saying, short-term planning is really going to help you to just keep your focus. And this is not just for business or content creation, for any goal that you have in your life. Break it down into the immediate next steps. Yes, have your vision, have a very good idea of what it is that you're working towards ultimately, but then in order to take action, break it down and see what can you actually tangibly work on, what's realistic for you to get done as the next step that's going to move you forward to where you ultimately want to be. So right now for this quarter for me, it's working with clients and it's getting filling out my client schedule. So that's what I'm currently working on. And as I said, if you want to take one of those spots, then absolutely send me a DM. But I know that logically for me, having become consistent, so I know I can be consistent with my communicating with my audience on Instagram. I know I can be consistent with my rich content on YouTube and on IGTV and promotion on Pinterest. I have started, turning my videos into blog posts for people who prefer to just consume my content that way. So with all of that been done, then the next logical step for me, of course, having already worked with clients and absolutely loving the experience and absolutely loving the results that we were able to get for them in working together, the next logical step for me to grow my business is to get more clients and fill out my calendar with client calls. So your plan is going to be different depending on what your goals are, but really get very clear on what that goal is, what that ultimate goal is, and what are the realistic steps that are actually going to move you forward. Because one thing that we tend to do, especially when we start thinking, we have a lot of time, is we start overcomplicating and we start adding in these fluff tasks that are really not moving us forward. So really just bring it in and focus on what matters. Simplify things, anything that you want to achieve, there is a long and hard and complicated way to get there, and then there's the simple way, which is just asking yourself, okay, what is essential for me to get to the next step, and then getting there and thinking, okay, what do I need to do to get to the next step? And doing it that way, breaking it down and simplifying it will get you so much further than overcomplicated plans ever will. So I hope that helps you, and I'm sorry about today's YouTube video, but I do feel like I covered everything that I wanted to say in that video right here on this vlog. So I still hope that it really helps you, and I will talk to you tomorrow in my next vlog. Bye guys.